Okay, the next most popular book that homeschoolers like to use to teach their children to read is this one. We open up to the table of contents. The first chapter will cover the letters COSAT, C-O-S-A-T, and here is your first instinct maybe to call these letters by their alphabet names. Try not to do this. Concentrate on the way letters sound. So we're always going to focus on the sound of the letter so that the child has the ability to put those sounds together, to blend them, and to start making words and learning to read. We're never going to concentrate on teaching our child, this is a letter T, this is a letter A, this is T-A. They're not going to learn how to read like that. They need to know T, A, T, S, A, S, K, A, K, A, K, A, K. In addition to Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons, this one is a little more interactive. It gives the child things to do. If they want, you can let them write in it, or you can they can just do it orally with their finger. And you got chapter 2, and those letters be covered in chapter 2 are MDR or MDR. Read the letter as it sounds and not by its alphabet name. So they continue to stress that, and all of these curriculums will stress that for you because that is the key to actually getting the child to learn to start reading. And the quicker they can start reading, the more confidence that they will have. I'm going to skip ahead a few pages here. You do not need any kind of degree at all to teach your children to read. We've taught our children to walk, to talk, to run, put on their own clothes, and we can teach them to read as well. Do not buy into the agenda of the welfare system that is called the public school, that disempowers the parent. Something as simple as teaching your child to read. If you know how to read, you can teach it to your child. If you know the letter names and the letter sounds, and you can read, you can teach it. You just need to have patience with your child, and remember that it takes time. It takes time to learn to read. As long as you are persistent in teaching them to read, they're not going to be graduating high school not knowing how to read. At the age of 18, or whatever age that they graduate, they will know how to read this. So you have to begin with the end in mind. Don't lose hope in the day-to-day struggle of actually doing the work. Pause at any time, and you can go ahead and read for yourself to determine which book you might think fits your child the best. Your teaching style and your child's learning style. The most important thing with homeschooling is teaching a child the love of learning. That's the number one thing that the public school is really good at destroying a child's natural ability of loving to learn to read and write and draw and color. Don't copy the public school system. Don't compare your child with the public school system. All right, this is an example of the last lesson here. Lesson 20. Read these words and sounds. New words with letter C as the S sound, not the K sound. My opinion, the second most common homeschooling book to teach a child to read. And it's a good one too. All right, this is the third common homeschool book that homeschoolers use to teach your children to read. It's Phonics Pathways. It's a good book too. This is the table of contents on what will be covered. First page. So they start out with the vowels, A, E, I, O, and U, teaching your child that. A lot of people will just use this book. A lot of people will just use one of these books. They won't use all of them, and that is perfectly fine. The reason I have them is because one of them I got for free. Another one I got to use with my second child, and the first one I got to use with my first child. And now my third child is using it as well. So they go on to do the consonant vowel. This is kind of like a Becca. Once you've taught the vowel sounds, you can then teach the consonant sounds to go with it. So you have the letter N, which is N, and then you got na, ne, ni, na, and N. So they just continue to work through that right there. Now we're doing the Cvc words, which is the consonant, vowel, consonant, three-letter words. So again, we're working with vowels, and then we've got the consonants, and then sa, and then they're adding the other consonant to the end. Sat, sat, sat. Continues to do it like that, which is basically the gist of the other books as well. Now, what I like about this book specifically, the other two books, Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons, and Reading Lessons, Teach Your Child to Read in 20 Easy Lessons. I like those two books for the beginning homeschooler. When you're first beginning to teach your child to read. Those are excellent books. This book, I prefer to follow those books, either one of those books, whichever one you choose. I prefer to follow this Phonics Pathways second. I would do the reading lesson or the Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons first. I would complete that book, and then I would move on to this book, because this book goes more into details regarding the English language, kind of like this. So you'll have ED at the end of a word, but ED can have three sounds. ED can have the ed sound, as in ended. The ED can have the d sound, as in tagged. And the ED can have the t sound, as in kicked, hopped. So that's what this book is really good for. This book goes into more detail than the other two books. So I prefer the other books to begin with, and especially if you are a beginner and this is your first time teaching your child to learn to read, first time homeschooling, And then I would pick up this book as a follow-up of the other two books, just to solidify everything. You will have to be patient. It will test your patience to sit and listen to a child constantly sound out a word. That is extremely simple, but that is where you will be growing as a parent. I'm just a parent now teaching my child to read as I taught them to talk. So this is a really good book too. They're all relatively cheap. You can find them for free. You can buy them brand new. I think they pretty much all come in under $20, somewhere around there. If you go online and buy them brand new, you can easily find them on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, just about anywhere for relatively very cheap. So I hope this was helpful, and you can do it.